Very much for joining us.
Thank you. All right. Everybody see that?
Yes, but not in the presentation mode just yet. If you
It's not in presentation mode yet.
not yet.
Okay. Hang on just a second. It's not in presentation mode. I have my assistant to help me with
Hi.
this.
Hi, thank you.
What about now?
Yes, it's working.
All
Thank
right,
you so
great.
much.
Thank you. Thanks, Tamika, for asking me to come in and participate here. We're always happy to talk about our program and actually learn about others. So it's a real good opportunity. I want to start out by just talking a little bit about maybe who we are, for those of you who don't know what we do. We actually have 3 different divisions. We have a mine training division, of which that's what I'm going to focus on today. We also have an oil and gas compliance division and a mine safety compliance division. We service about 900 students a year. Our mine training is actually a facility-based program. And one of the ways that it works primarily is it's a camp-based mine training. We're the only ones in the world that do what we do. And we've trained over 500 students in the last 9 years with a pretty good track record regarding completion and long-term retention. It's the long-term retention that we're the most proud of, because our program focuses on 2 different components. One is the actual hands-on mine training, right? We have the actual facility, we have all of the equipment to train both underground and surface mining. But a part of that training component is the employability skills. Melissa mentioned how important that is to their program. Well, it's just as important to ours as well, in order to get this long-term retention in the industry. So we spend a lot of time working on individuals. Just some examples. The whole first day of the class, which is a 4-week program for the underground, they come onto our site for 2 weeks. It's a camp, everything's provided. They go home for 2 weeks and they come back for the final 2 weeks. Well, the whole first day of that camp is focused on employability skills. What are employers expecting? What do they expect of individuals? We spend a lot of time talking about the individual themselves. Employment comes with a lot of guidance and rules and directions, but personal lives do not. So oftentimes we have to spend some time helping them establish some of those parameters in order to be successful. And one of the things we like to talk about is teaching them how to manage their life rather than letting their life manage them. So I want to show a short video, and I want you to kind of pay particular attention more to what the testimonials are by the students, because it really does change their lives. And that's one of the exciting things that we do. We know we change lives, right? So I'll show this video and then we'll talk a little bit more about the program. Can you hear that okay?
Not yet, no.
1996.
No?
I didn't understand the cultures.
We can now. Yes, thank you.
Within the first year of trying to develop local employees from the villages, it became real obvious that we're having some issues in trying to integrate multicultural workforces. We had a horrendous turnover rate in the first year. We had over 320% turnover. And at that time, it would have been real easy to just throw your hands up and say, well, you know, this isn't going to work. But we didn't. We went out, we interviewed folks that voluntarily terminated and sat down with them and talked to them about what is it that we can do to make this environment a work environment in which you want to be a part of. Things like teamwork, family, strong connections to the land, all of those kind of things. If you take those strengths and build from that, you can incorporate what we call a soft skills or employability skills program based on who you're working with. We don't change the workplace to accommodate the culture. We blend the two together to provide a successful work environment.
We have a lot of people showing up here at camp that have no idea what we're doing. But when they walk in and see some of this equipment that's sitting outside, they know that they're going to get to sit in it. It's not going to be a classroom environment. We get people that have no experience, no job experience at all. We get people that have had some job experience, some bad job experience, and so forth. So we get all different sorts of students in here.
To me, the best people in the world is mining people, and if they're showing up here for a month away from their families and that tells me they want to be a miner, and so that 50% of it right there.
Soft skills, I learned a lot, but not just about work, but about myself. About how much self-esteem this program has given me, because I couldn't have stood here and started talking to somebody I did not know, don't know, or in front of the camera. And soft skills gave me leadership skills. Like when I first came into this training, I was not as mature as I am right now. Like this conversation could have went a whole different way if this was the first couple of weeks. So like they do a real lot of work on just working on yourself out here. It's really helpful, and it helps you, get on with life. It makes it a lot easier.
You learn quite a bit about teamwork, safety, and just family life, and how it all fits together.
I'm actually honored to do this course. I feel more confident in myself and all the training that we've learned.
When I first got here, I had no underground mining experience at all. I've been on a couple tours, and so I was pretty intimidated by the jackleg work and just being underground, not knowing what to do. But after the training, everything, I had good instructors, and now my white comp is at all-time high.
Even if you came with a background in construction or a background in mining, they're gonna let you actually work the machines, you're gonna actually have the chance to see what it's like, and you're gonna see people who have operated it for years successfully show you how to do it.
Everything they taught us was very specific, and I'm ready for work. I'm soon as I leave there, I'll be. I'm already looking for work.
I never thought I'd be here working underground and had no knowledge of what they expect when they got here. They're actually doing the hands-on. And feel pretty comfortable being told what to do and how to identify the proper safety precautions to take.
I think it's a really great program, and I learned a lot from it. I'm sure we all did. It's not an easy program. We had to work really hard to graduate. They didn't just hand us our diplomas. We had to work for it, but it was totally worth it.
I would recommend this course to anybody that would want to be here. It's a very good facility for training. The instructors are very, very awesome. And I would recommend this to anybody.
Leadership part is great, and self-confidence, gave me self-confidence, a lot of that. I'm ready for the future.
In the first round, we had a scramble and we had to find other jobs. And we approached them and said, how would you like to consider going to a training course with the outcome that you will be an entry-level miner at some of mine? And these individuals accepted. Well, having learned from that and having seen what a wonderful opportunity this is, I asked all of our employees to forward names of individuals they thought would be excellent candidates for this training program, and then to come to work as a level miners. We got overwhelming support, about 10 or 12 candidates were recommended, and we've done interviews with more people are really enthused about it. They're so jazzed up about it. So I think it's wonderful for the state of Ohio because It's wonderful for the industry and certainly for all the individuals that have done this. So thank you.
The program that we put together here, I think because it encompasses all the different dynamics of workforce development, the successes are going to be apparent. And the companies, I believe at some point will realize that this is a huge aspect. That being able to do a hands-on, real-time type of training, focused training, to develop these employees, I think is going to be priceless for the state. We need to get more of our local folks to work. That's our objective, is to put Alaskans to work.
So that gives you a little bit of background as to what that program really is all about. One of the things that we do is we work very closely with industry. So a majority of our students are either pre-employed or are employed either prior to or just after graduation. The uniqueness about the program, though, is that it gives opportunities for folks that are both unemployed and underemployed. Now, let me explain to you the underemployed situation. One of the things that the mines are having difficulty in doing is recruiting good candidates for their high-paying jobs. So what they've done, we've kept our program short. So it's a 4-week program. This means specifically for individuals that maybe have families and obligations financially and things like that. It's a little difficult for them to just up and quit and, do a year-long program or something like that. So we've tailored this to that individual. In addition to that, individuals that get selected by the mines and sent to the program, they're actually paid by the mine to take the class. And there is no cost to the students. We use about 5 different funding sources to fund students. So we know that, individuals that are looking to go to work in a blue collar industry, more than likely don't have a lot of cash laying around. So being able to afford a program like ours is probably unreasonable. So all of these current industry partners that I have listed here are the industry partners we train for and our industry partners that help contribute to the program. We are an international training entity. The U.S. State Department a couple of years ago selected our program to be the representative for the U.S. in training Greenland. So we're working closely with Greenland in teaching them not just how to train underground mining concepts, but also the safety. We're working with them. I'm consulting with them on how to build a training facility, things like that. We also have a Canadian partner. They actually were our initial partners in helping us get the program up and running. They're located out of Whitehorse. And they're a very good close partner of ours as well. Our learning concepts, obviously students are going to learn on the surface, particularly for our underground class, learning how to operate the equipment. And then and only then, when we feel comfortable in going underground, that's when we start moving down to the underground facility. If it's a surface class, that's when we start moving to the quarry. That's just a picture of one of our underground haul trucks. This is the entry-level position, by the way, for underground mining, operating underground haul trucks. And we have a pretty large number of women that take the course and do quite well. In fact, we always have a saying that the women generally make the best truck operators. So that's something to keep in mind too, as far as career choices. We transfer the skills underground. Once we go underground and start operating, we kind of put it all together. We have the jackleg drilling. We do the haul truck and the scoop tram, which is basically an underground loader. So they learn how to operate equipment underground in our facility. They learn how to install all of the necessary utilities that provide air, water, and ventilation to the underground mine. Our surface operation, we have our own quarry and our 2 haul trucks. One is a large mine truck, 769. The other one is a 40-ton articulated. These are the ones that you normally see on road construction jobs. That's another picture of our quarry. Basically, we take that waste dump and we move it from there down to the other quarry. And then the next class will turn around and bring it back. So, and then we also utilize all the material that we haul up to the surface from the underground. These are our instructors. We've got over 160 years of combined experience on site. And this is just a list of our instructors. We also have our own chef. The camp facility is quite comfortable, very good food. It's about a 28-bed facility. We like to keep our classes at between 10 and 12 students, just because of the student to instructor ratio. We find that that's probably the most efficient for us. We have an oil and gas division. David Spann and Avram are located in Anchorage. Although we do roustabout training on the camp, at the camp as well. You have a picture down there in the bottom of one of the graduating classes for Schlumberger. So we utilize the facility in a number of ways. We also do the mining safety and health, MSHA. We do third-party MSHA training for Alaska. We also can and have the ability to certify MSHA instructors as well. In fact, I do that myself here in Soldotna. So we get quite involved in all of the aspects of mining. These are our support staff. Elizabeth is located here in Soldotna. She kind of manages all of the day-to-day workings. Amelia, who you saw just a moment ago, helping me get up and running here. She kind of runs the Soldotna office. And Shirley, she runs the Anchorage office, which is our oil and gas division. So, having said all that, I'm just going to kind of leave it open to questions. If anyone has any questions, I can stop sharing here. Okay. One of the things that I will mention, programs like Melissa's are programs that we also work with, particularly because we train for blue-collar jobs, and that's oftentimes folks that are hands-on learners. And you'll be surprised that those type of jobs are quite a good fit for a number of folks. Over 40% of our 500 and some students are Alaskan Native. So they're all very engaged and actively working in the mines. Our program really focuses on employment success. You know, the skill, teaching the skill obviously is the easy part. Teaching the life skill and the ability to survive in a workplace like that, you know, obviously takes a bit more attention. But so we spend a lot of time doing that as well. So any questions?
Thank you, Director Beaver. So we had a comment in the chat box. So awesome. My daughter graduated from MAPTS with the Excel program. So Alaska Excel, we had a presentation from them on Tuesday. So how does this partnership work? Because those are students that are not hired by mines, right? They are students through Alaska Excel. Could you give us a little more, because you also mentioned Covenant House Alaska, that you can partner with them to provide the training. So could you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, the Excel program, I actually worked with them when I was in the industry, hiring some of their students for the Donlin project. But we primarily provide training, surface mine training, heavy equipment operating training for their students that are graduating. They just graduated like a week before they show up on our site. Okay, and then they also have internships with some of the subsidiaries of native corporations and other companies that Excel works with. So they complete our 2-week program on site, and then they're off to their internships. And oftentimes those internships lead to long-term employment.
I see. How often do you offer training?
We run year round.
Year-round?
We do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off year round, except for July. We shut down for July. We couldn't get any students during fishing season anyway. And we
Right.
like to fish as well. So July, we don't do anything. And we do have, for students that are interested, and I have Amelia, she's going to put our contact information into the chat box. But for anyone that's interested in this program, the way it works is contact us, get us a resume. We will go through the resume and we'll farm it out to the mines. We'll send that resume out. Are you interested in this individual? If so, we'll put them in contact with them. Oftentimes they will get with the Department of Labor for funding, and they will also get with the employer. They'll establish their employment situation, or we'll just take them as a walk-on and we'll work on trying to get funding from other sources. We use, revenues that we've earned from other training, like international training. We use those funds to help fund Alaskans. So if there are people out there that are interested in getting into the industry, the starting wage is $75,000 a year, working well into the second year, being into the 100,000 plus. And these are all really good benefits and all of that. So these are real careers. They're not particularly short-term jobs of any sort.
Thank you. Do you have any students or trainees who throughout the program discover that this may not be the career of or the lifestyle that they may be able to sustain?
Yes, we do get that. However, though, a majority of the students that come into our program, and I don't care where in the state they come from, I don't care what their backgrounds are or employment experience, a lot of them come very apprehensive, not knowing if they can actually do this job. Pretty nervous, particularly for underground, right? I mean, that's not a real normal situation. And so a lot of them don't really know if they can deal with it. But after coming through the program and within a couple of weeks, you start to see that they start to see themselves, that they are getting the confidence. And, that is the key to anything, right? They've got to have the confidence that they can do this. And once they've established the confidence they can do this, well, you got to see in the video what the results are, right? They're standing there proud, head up, they can communicate. We really work hard on the communication thing, because if individuals can't communicate with strangers or their supervisors or things like that, then oftentimes that sets them up for failure. So we are, every day of the class, they are front and center of the class doing some sort of presentational talk, whether it's on safety or environmental or whatever it is we went over the day before. You can guarantee those students will be up front and center all the time. We'll be always putting them in that situation, because when we talk to students, we ask them, what is one of the weaknesses that you have that you want to change? Well, obviously speaking in front of people is always one of them. So by being able to work on that and work on the fact that they're actually able to do these fairly sophisticated skills, it gives them the confidence to do other things, right? So we may get students that come through our program that maybe don't end up going to work in a mine, but they end up running heavy equipment in their villages, maintaining airstrips and roads and things like that, because the training is the same. But what it does do is it gives them the confidence to be able to do those things.
And also the fact that it's a 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, right? Like a lot of, or majority of our employers have that rotational schedule. Some of those trainees, students have never had that experience before. And it's an adjustment. I know from my own personal experience that it takes a while for people to get used to living in a camp situation and being away from the family and everything else that comes with it. So yes, so that's a good element of that training.
It is, and you're exactly right. And I forget to talk about this, but it is a very important concept because we explain to students and we spend time working with them to get them to understand that if you manage a rotational lifestyle, if you manage it correctly, you may have an actual better quality of life than if you were home every night. And we talk about that. And we say, you know, the average employee that goes home every night after work spends less than two or three quality hours a week with the family, right? And they're all like, well, what? And that's true because you take it for granted, right? That time is always going to be there. You take it for granted they're always going to be there. And then we also talk about the 8th day of the week. You know what that 8th day of the week is, right? It's someday. And too often do we use that term someday, because that someday rarely ever comes. Well, when you're on a rotational lifestyle, that someday better come every rotation, right? And same with participating with the families and things like that. So those are just some of the key elements of the training and learning how to live in a camp, learning how to live with, eat, work with strangers, you know, for 10 hours, 10, 12 hours a day.
Thank you. Do you offer tours?
Yes.
Okay.
We encourage folks to come to our graduations. They're held underground. When you watched the video and you saw the testimonies of the students, we actually have an underground auditorium. It's about 5,000 feet into the mountain. And it's a fully hot catered lunch. So the students actually conduct the tour and the graduations. And so if you're ever interested in attending some of those, get a hold of us. Our facility is located between Delta Junction and Tok. So it is a bit remote, but we always encourage that for sure.
Thank you.
Oh, also, our graduations are also broadcast live on Facebook, on our Facebook page. So it's broadcast worldwide.
Great. Thank you. I think I had one more question, but I'm trying. How cool on graduations? Oh, yes. Mercedes is sharing the feedback here and positive comments. So thanks for that. Oh, I did have a question about your partners. Are you looking for partners? Partners come to you? Are you expanding your database of partners? How does it work?
Little of everything, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We're always looking for partners. Most of the industrial partners find us, but just based on our reputation and the fact we've been working with them for quite a number of years. But our biggest challenge right now are students in the seats of this class. It's sad for me to have open seats in these classes, given the fact that the tuition is paid for, the opportunities are there at the end, all of those things. So for us to have vacant seats is just sad.
Oh, well, I hope this platform will help with filling up the seats for the students. We do have one question from Brandy. Do you fly the employees from their home communities to the work site for each rotation?
Yeah, no, we don't. Not at this time. They have to get themselves to the Fairbanks Airport. We pick them up at the Fairbanks Airport with our van and we take them to site and then we return them back to the airport. But no, that transportation, they need to find means to get that.
with some of your partners, do you, for instance, I saw Red Dog Mine, and that's one of your partners. Do you have an ongoing training with all the partners, or you take a break and come back, or they come back to you? How does it work?
It's based on need.
Okay.
Whenever they might need employees or something trained here in a specific thing, they'll get a hold of us. Same with the mines. Each mine might send us 2 students every class. One, because they don't want a bunch of new folks at one time. And this helps them to kind of filter in newer folks into their organization kind of in a slower manner. So it just depends on what the need is. Like Mancho, we just finished a class where we actually had to run a surface class and an underground at the same time, because Mancho needed some extra folks in their program. So we went ahead and brought 6 of them in with our underground students, and we were able to kind of run 2 classes at once. So there are sometimes we got to do that.
And some of the mines are only surface mines, right?
Some are only surface, yeah, and some are only underground.
Okay. All right. Well, so many good things. So I really hope you won't have any vacancies. That's the hope, because we have such a huge shortage of qualified employees around the state, and we hear that that's the theme across this training from every guest presenter. So let's work together to ensure that we train Alaskans and we don't have to bring people from the lower 48 to fill our Alaskan vacancies.
Yes, and the big message from industry is the young people is our future, and we that's why, you know, we focus on programs like Melissa's or Excel or any of those kind of programs, because everybody understands that's our future. So we need to start planting that garden, if you will.
Yes. Well, on that note, I thank you, Director Bieber, for your time today, for joining us again this year, and for all the questions and positive comments. So let's finish for today, and let's hope all of us have a great weekend. But we'll see everyone next week. Thank you so much, Director Bieber. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Thank you.
All right, bye.